There are different type of sources of funding. So on the one hand, you have public funding from the federal and state governments, and there's also private organizations that are adding their own funds also to deploy infrastructure throughout the country. In regards to public funding, the most, let's say, salient is the NEVI funding program from the bipartisan infrastructure law. There's $7.5 billion that have been devoted to creating and expanding a network of EV charging infrastructure throughout the nation. Out of the $7.5 billion, 5 of them will be distributed to the states through a formula program, and $2.5 billion will be distributed in competing bidding directly from the federal government. In addition to those federal funds, there's also state funds that are being added, and each state is coming up with their own programs. One very good example would be in California, that has launched the Cali VIP program for DC chargers.
Typically, of course, the building up of charging infrastructure is, let's say, the first thing what can be funded by these government sources. And when we talk about charging infrastructure, that can include DC chargers, that also includes AC chargers. Now, how this exactly is going to be distributed, that is still a bit open. There certainly will be certain programs which will address only AC chargers. What is very clear is that the major part, for example, of the NEVI funding program is dedicated to build up a charging infrastructure network along those national highway systems. So typically the interstates, and the majority of them definitely will be DC chargers. So to sum up on the explanation I gave before, we have 2 types of funding. So one is the state funding, one is the federal funding. Now what is all common for these funding programs are, let's call it 3 main standards. That's OCPP 2.0.1, that is ISO 15118, and that surely is the UL 2202. Now, some of those programs do require proof of conformance. Others just simply say conformance. And the best way, of course, to provide proof of conformance is if you have an appropriate certification. So, for example, an OCPP certification or an ISO certification or a UL certification. And that basically is proof enough for all eventualities, so regardless whether it's state funding or whether it's federal funding.
We'll definitely be very happy to give you detailed information based on the details and the technical description of your products, and also the states, the markets where you would like to deploy. We're able to help here in the US as well as international markets. So we'll be happy to provide a consultation very specific to your case. So here below, you will see a link when you can reach out to us. There's also my contact information if you prefer to reach out to me directly.